And at the next shop right here, first off, while I'm walking by, another forklift, also a propane, not gas. And back here, we got ourselves our two 8335R tractors. And another thing, they're also the exact same tractor, same thing as our 225R tractors, except one has a pedal on the floor and the other one has the black fenders. As you can see, this one does not have black fenders, and this one over here, as you can see, does have the black fenders right there. These two tractors, other than that, they are pretty much identical. Actually, never mind, this one also does have the floor pedal as I'm looking into it. Yep, right there. Well, I guess the only difference is just the black fenders. That's at least the only thing that I can think of that they're different. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what year model they are. I think they're, I'm almost want to say anywhere from 2012 to 2015 is what these are. We got these after we had the 225s, the 82 225R tractors. After we got the first two, we really liked them. And then a couple years later, we bought these two. And then now we use these two tractors for planting. We'll use them for later in the year whenever we are going to be harvesting peanuts. We'll use them in front of the buggies. We'll use them for plowing. These tractors pretty much do all the hard work, basically. They'll do pretty much everything around the farm is what these two tractors will do. But these two are really nice tractors. We've put a lot of hours on them already. They're really nice. They do need to be cleaned though. They are getting quite dirty, but I don't think we'll have time to get to that before we start harvesting. Maybe we'll quickly give them a quick wash before we start harvesting. But yeah, that's those two tractors right there. Now I'm gonna go walk outside and show you some of the equipment that we have around here. Hopefully it won't be too windy because it is getting a little bit windy. And moving around the shop here, first off, oh actually right there, we have the blue diesel tank right there, same thing as the red one. Also we put that Thunder Creek def tank in the front. Another Sandfighter right there, which actually, hold on, that one is a 13 rower. The ones I showed you before are 9 rowers, and that's because, well, I guess they are, you could call them 8 rowers, but there's 9 shanks. If you do the last one double, then you have 8 rows. But if you don't do the last one double, then you technically have 9 rows. But yeah, that one is 13 rows. The other one was 9 rows. And then this one right here, this is our sprayer. We actually have 3 sprayers. We have this sprayer, and we have one sprayer at our other farm down south in Texas. I know, I mentioned that a lot. Can't go there because that's like 3 hours driving. And I don't feel like driving 3 hours just to show like 5 pieces of equipment that there is. But there's this sprayer, the other one that is at the other farm, which that one's way older than this one. This one's our newest one. And then the third one is not really our sprayer, it's more of a rental sprayer. But we rented it from the John Deere, and then in the beginning of the year we'll have the spreader box on it, and we'll use it to spread fertilizer on all of our fields. Just recently they put the boom back on there with the tank and everything. It does only have an 800-gallon tank instead of 1,000 like what we have with our other sprayers, but it works. It helps out a lot for more spraying. All the cotton that we have out there, they're doing a lot more pixing than we do out here because there's also a lot more water. But this is our 4038 sprayer, John Deere. It does have a stainless steel tank in the back. This is, man, I think this is a 2018 or a 2019. It also has a single monitor just like our 370 does, and it has this new handle like some of the other sprayers don't have. Instead of coming from here going this way and then pulling forward, you're now from here pulling this way and then forward. So it's a little bit different, but my brother says he likes this one way better over any of the other ones. He says he really likes the sprayer. There is another screen in here, but that's just an iPad for all the field view that we do for where we can, all the mapping of spraying that you can keep track of it better. Keeps all records of it. We also have a folder right here where we keep all the records of everything, but that thing does a whole lot easier of a job. It'll write down all like the wind speed, chemical you're using, all sorts of stuff like that. But this sprayer is really nice. We haven't been using it as much as we normally do, since we're not really, I guess we're probably going to use it a lot more whenever we start spraying for like bugs and stuff. But right now we have been using it slightly. We used it a lot in the beginning for a lot of weeds and stuff like that, but it's been sitting here for about a week now, not using it. But then over here, this right here is our spray trailer with one of 3 semis. I'll show you the other semis if I ever get to them. I know my cousin is taking one of the semis with one of our pickers to Corpus, because I talked about that. They're harvesting the cotton out there. But this one right here, that's a Freightliner. It's very old. We bought it for cheap way back in the day, but somehow it still runs. But this is our spray rig or spray trailer. We can load up the sprayer here. We can put totes of chemicals on here. We have a nice 3,000 gallon tank of water that we can fill up here in the front. We have like the motor here, the big tank right here that you can take jugs right here, fill them up into here. You can rinse it all these hoses. We recently put a 3-inch hose on here to where we can fill up faster with 2 filters instead of just 1 filter with a 2-inch hose. Makes it a lot nicer for filling up, a lot faster too. Don't have to worry about filters breaking as easy because there's a lot more water going into 2 filters instead of just 1. So that part's really nice. But this is our spray trailer right here. Now I'm going to go over back there behind the shop. We have quite a few random equipment there. And then we have another shop further down the road, so I'll show you all of that. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna take my truck. I'm actually hooking up this poly rig. We use this for pulling out our wells that require poly. It just rolls it up. We've done that a few times. I've shown it on a few of my videos. I can go into detail if you want me to. Just let me know in the comments below. But that's our poly rig. Another diesel tank. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we do have red farm diesel in this one. But I think, yeah, this one has red farm diesel in it. And then I believe we have another trailer somewhere. I don't know where it is. We have another diesel tank just like this. It's also a white one, just like this, but it has just regular field diesel in it, or not field, road diesel in it, so we can fill up our trucks and semis with it. But we recently got a bigger tank for our semis, so now we just have the other white one for all the diesel trucks we have around the farm. And then this right here is our welder trailer. All the essentials: welder, torch, pieces of scrap metal, and trash. We use this thing for fixing things. It's really handy. We also have like an extension cord on here, of course, for the grinder, vise on there, you know, all the good stuff you need to do for anything metal related, fixing things like that somewhere around the farm if there's like a leaky pipe or something. But then we use that thing for all that. We have 2 of them. The other one is at the other farm, so we just have 1 for now. We used to have 2 of them here, 1 here at this barn and the other one at another barn, but for now there's just 1 here, and we have to move it back and forth if we ever want to use it. But now I'm gonna head back there and show you all that stuff over there. Oh, I just realized I completely skipped this thing right here. This is our seed tender. We use this thing in the beginning of the year for, we put peanuts in there and then we just augered it out into the planters. We also use that for corn, putting it into the planters obviously, and then later on at the end of the year we'll use that for wheat. We'll fill it up with wheat and then fill up the air seeder or just the seed drills with it. That's pretty much just the basic seed tender. Moving on to some more random pieces of equipment. I'm not going to go too specific onto them, but I will just kind of go over them briefly, kind of give you a little description of what they do and stuff like that. So here we go. First off, our stalk cutter. It just has 2 units right there and right there. Pretty much just sharp blades, chop down cotton stalks at the end of the year. There's a 3rd unit back there. That's pretty much just to make it a little bit more level than what it was. So we use this thing for chopping down stalks, or if you really want to spend a lot of work into it, you just move it one over, and then you can go in between the rows and chop down any voluntary cotton that you have or weeds from the previous year. And then here is that 12-row seed drill that I was talking about, or if you don't want to call it a 12-row seed drill, you can just call it a 36-foot seed drill. But the reason why it's 36 feet, we added these little things at the end on each side, so that made it longer than what it was. And then right here we have ourselves a land plane. We do have another one, I just don't know where it is. Usually it's parked right beside it, but we used this thing for our corn acres last year. If you had seen some of one of my last videos, it's been a while now already, but we used both of these. We flattened out the land with them after plowing and packing, which, we're on that topic, packer. We made this packer ourselves. After we plow the ground, we'll pack it, or else it gets way too soft. After packing, we'll land plane it. We made this packer ourselves. It's just made out of some steel, and we put 2 totes on here, fill them up with water, give it lots more extra weight. We do also have lots of weight there in the middle. This middle part right here does swivel up and down it gives it some more flexibility, I guess you could say. But that's it for that packer, and we have ourselves another chicken picker. This one is just way bigger and way longer, as you can see. This one is a newer one. We bought it at an auction a few years ago. Same thing as the other chicken picker, just newer. One thing I do have a problem with is whenever you fold it up, these arms will go up. Now once they reach up to like this point right here, then they pretty much just fall and almost land down onto the middle here, because they'll fold all the way up and then sit on top upside down. And I do not like that folding mechanism. I would rather have some sort of arm way the heck up here that kind of holds it there. It's not a really good folding mechanism that they put on there, but it kind of works. It needs something better, but for now it is what it is. And right here we have ourselves a peanut basket. Later on at the end of the year, you'll see us use this thing. We recently painted it blue. It was nice and old and rusted, and we were like, it needs a new coat of paint. So we painted it blue, the original color that it was. So after we harvest the peanuts, sometimes it'll take quite a long time before you can get into the semi, out onto the field. So this peanut basket allows us to, after harvesting them, dump them into here, and then when a semi truck does arrive, it feeds it out, loads it up onto the semi. So we can harvest, I think about 3 semi loads can fit in here. It's like 2 3/4 semi loads, but if you really want to fill it up and pack it full, you can fit 3 semi loads into this big basket. So you can harvest quite a bit before you have to start waiting for a semi. So that's this basic peanut basket. We just have some random stuff here. We have some old pipes. I believe we used to use that to water corners of the field, but not much water for that. Have an old chopping shredder. Don't really use that anymore. It's kind of just there. An old fertilizer rig. Don't really use that anymore either, but it's there. It's been sitting here for years now. I can't remember the last time we used it, but basically that white tank right there normally would go on the back right here to this hitch, and it would just put fertilizer down onto the ground or in between the rows. So that's pretty much been sitting there for forever. The tank, I don't think we haven't also used that thing in years, but it's still sitting here. If we ever do decide to use it, we could fix it up a little bit and use it again. But then right here we also have another cultivator. I think this is what they would call a rolling cultivator. It's a little different. It's what you would also go on top of rows, get rid of like cotton stalks and stuff like that. But we haven't used that thing in a very long time either. A lot of the random equipment that we have around here we haven't used in a while, but they're still sitting around, because if we all of a sudden do need to use it, it's there. That and it's collateral. So if we ever need to sell something, they're all paid for, they're there. We could sell them and get some extra money if we wanted to. But if we don't use them, it doesn't hurt keeping them here. It doesn't they're just there. So we also have some plows. We have a better plow now, but this right here is a really old plow. We haven't used that one in a very long time, but we do have this plow. This plow we will use if we want to go very deep. It does only have 5 bottoms, but as you can tell, it has round discs, and they're a lot bigger than those over there. So you can go very deep with these. I think you can go well past 2 feet deep. You can go 18 inches to 2 feet deep. You can go pretty deep with this thing. Get very deep in the ground to turn the dirt all the way over. But because it is so short, it takes a lot of time to cover a lot of acres. So on to the next shop. There's the other lamp lane. It's a green one, but it's just like the other one, except newer, has bigger walls. But yeah, pretty much same thing. Now at the other shop. And here we have another shop full of random equipment. I guess first things first, we have hooded sprayers. These are for if you want to go in between the rows and spray stuff. You don't want to spray on top of the plants or anything. Say the chemical you're spraying wants to hurt the plants, you go with these and it'll just spray between the rows, keep the plants nice and safe in between. We have 2 of them. We don't use them often, but we still use them every now and then. And then right here we have ourselves our John Deere 1910 air seeder. We bought this thing a couple of years ago. We use this thing now for all of our wheat planting because it has the cultivator right here, cultivates the ground, levels everything, and then right away plants the wheat in the back. So we use this thing for everything. We'll haul this out. Well, actually, I guess you probably saw it in one of my recent videos. I guess not recent, December? Yeah, December, one of my December videos. We took this thing all the way out there with the tractor. We drove, and it takes about 8 hours driving with the tractor because this thing is far too heavy to hook onto a truck or semi or whatever. And when you drive through town, you kind of have to lower the cultivator a little bit so you don't hit power lines and stuff like that. So hooking it onto a semi really doesn't work. So we just use a tractor and then drive 8 hours, bring it over there, finish planting wheat with everything over there, and then bring it back. And then right here, our 16-row strip till. So when you're doing minimum till, instead of tilling everything, you just till right where you want your rows. So that's basically that thing. And then over here, we have our rake. This is a speed rake, SR800. We use this for raking hay, merging 2 swaths into one. Back here, we have our 2 1720 planters, regular 16-row planters. These did not come factory 16 rows. They were, I forgot how many rows. It might have been 16 rows, but they weren't 36-inch row spacing. So what they had to do, I don't know where they did it, but one machine shop around town somewhere, they manufactured it to where we could lengthen it, and then where we could have 16 rows on 36-inch row spacing. So this is modified to where it fits our planting style, I guess you could say. And then this blue thing right here, this is our peanut shaker. This filters out any unwanted material from peanuts. Peanuts come up on that conveyor, obviously that lowers very far. It's just like up like this for transporting. But peanuts will come up over here, shake down here, any dirt, small little debris, small rocks, if there is any, it'll all come down here. Any LSKs, any stuff like that, any bad peanuts, they'll all fall down there and then auger out that thing right here, which right now that's also up for transporting. And then after it reaches out of this shaker, it actually will go up to this conveyor and load up onto semis. Back here, we have 2 John Deere plows. We stopped using these because we got ourselves a newer Ferris plow. So I won't even talk about these. They're just your standard John Deere plows. They're not that good anymore. We have our new Fairs plow. Fairs is local here in town, so they made this. We actually bought it off of an auction, so we paid a little bit more for it than we would buying it at a dealer, because it was more of a donation. It was for a local school, so we bought this off of an auction. So we used this thing last year. Saw us using it last year. Last year was the first year that we used it, so we used that. And then right here is just a little mini discer. Back in the day, whenever we did more watermelon harvesting, or we planted watermelons, you always have a skip in between sections of rows of watermelons. So you'd use this little discer. It fits perfectly right between those rows. You can get rid of all the weeds right there. So that's what we use that little discer for, but that's about it. And these plows, we might get rid of them one day, but we might not. Maybe, we'll see. No one really knows what we're gonna do with them, but they're there. Now I'm going to head to that side of the shop. There's another entrance there. I'll show you what we have back there. Oh, look, there's an owl. Nice. Anyways, back here, some random junk that we don't use, more junk that we don't use, but we have our peanut buggies right here. These are Richardtons 975s. I believe they're all the same, besides, which one is it? I believe it's that one right there. Yeah, it's this one right here. This one's a little different. Instead of being in the center, it's a little more off to the side, and this arm is a little extended closer. I don't know why it's like that, but we prefer not to use it just simply because of that. Oh, and it doesn't have a jack, so we prefer not to use this one, but we have a third one if we need to. Usually we'll just use two of them. Last year we didn't end up needing two of them, and we didn't have a tractor or hired hands for a second one, so last year we made it work with just one of them. But we'll have two of these for peanuts. Oh yeah, forgot to mention that we use these for peanuts, if you're wondering. They're peanut buggies. Amadas makes better ones, but we've had these for years. We used to use them back in the day for like chilies and stuff like that. You dump chilies into there and then dump them on the semis. But we use these both for peanuts. We will, from the combine, we'll dump them into here, and from here they'll actually raise up and then dump into the peanut basket that I showed you, and then from the peanut basket it goes into the semis. So yeah, just basically three same things, except of course that one's a little different, but they do need a little bit of work. These hydraulics here are leaking, but we'll get to that probably at the end of the year, just to fix them up a little bit before we use them. But yeah, that's it for here. And if I see any more equipment, then I'll show you that too. But I'm not quite sure how much more equipment that there is around the farm. There's a lot of stuff here and there, small things. But I'm gonna head over to one more place. I think we have a few more stuff there, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'll show you some more equipment. Oh, door's locked. This right here is another one of our semis. I think it's one of the better looking semis. Well, that right there is just some lights for the semi. I needed to bring it over here. But this is what I would think our most prettiest semi. It looks, in my opinion, amazing with these red fenders, white. This one is a Peterbilt. We are now hauling this picker to Corpus, but I don't know, I just really like that semi. It looks good. But yeah, this is one of our semis. This right here is our low boy, is what we would use to haul pickers and such. It sits pretty low to the ground. As you can see, it's really close from touching the ground. So you can get really low, you can load up big equipment as this right here. But this right here is one of our trailers. We have two more trailers back there. We have one flatbed and one dump trailer. We have a few other trailers, but they're not here right now. But then this right here, I thought this was at one of our shops, but it turns out it's right here. So I might as well review this over too. This right here is our Cat loader, 930K. It's pretty big. It has a massive dump in the front, a dump bucket, whatever you want to call it. We use this thing for stacking a lot of our bales during harvest season. All the round bales that those pickers and strippers make, we'll stack them all with it, and then we'll also load our semis with this thing too. Works really nice. Love this thing. You can stack hay bales, cotton bales really fast. It works amazing. This is an amazing loader right here. We usually have to rent another one because we have, of course, these two pickers, and I'll review the strippers here shortly. But we have this thing. We usually rent another one because we need them, but for right now we just have the one. Maybe in the future we'll get another one, but for right now it's just the one. And then we have this semi, and then we have another semi somewhere. If I find it, I'll show you that one too. Moving on to the next shop. Different day for me, same day for y'all. More equipment. Right here is our W235 swather. We cleaned it a while back, so it's nice and shiny and green, as you can see. This is, or I guess moving on to more hay equipment, we'll use this to cut all of our hay. And then I showed you the rake, we'll rake it all together. And then we have our baler. But first, this swather. This is, or we call it a swather. Some people just call it a disc mower. It just has round discs with blades on there. They spin really fast and it cuts it. So instead of having like sickles moving back and forth, kind of like a combine, instead of having that, it just has discs and they spin around, cut it really fast. So you can potentially mow 15, 18 miles an hour. Well, there was one field where I could mow 17 miles an hour, but any faster than that, and the GPS didn't like it, and the GPS turned off. So you can potentially swath 20 miles an hour. That's as fast as the swather will go. You can potentially swath that fast if you want, but majority of the times we'll swath 12 and a half. If it's really good hay, we'll swath 8, 10 miles an hour. But yeah, we really like this thing. We bought this thing quite a few years ago. We bought them all at the same time, the baler and the swather at the same time. It's really good. We love it. It does a dang good job. So every now and then, you kind of got to mess with it a little bit if it's not doing a clean job, but it's still a really good swather and we like it. As for the baler, it's a Massey Ferguson baler. Can't really tell you too much about it because I don't know much details on it, but it's a what you would call not a round baler, it's a square baler. So we also have the trailer in the back here to where you can hold extra set of bales and you can drop 2 bales off at the same time. Then you have stacks of 2 laying on the field, and it's easier to stack like that. But what you would call it, since we make square bales, they're 4x4 bales, so 4 foot by 4 foot. Some people do 3 foot by 4 foot, so like 3 feet tall, 4 feet wide, but ours are 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide. So then some people would do 3x4s. That way you can load them up on semis easier, but we do 4x4s because we like the bale size and everything. So that's what we use this thing for. It has some issues every now and then, but it's still a really good baler and we like it. It does also have like a lot of wires, so hooking it up every now and then takes a little bit longer, but still a really good baler and we like it. And while I'm here, might as well show you these 2 trailers. These are just regular hopper trailers, and I believe one of these, I think this one right here is not ours. This one is a rented one. I believe this one is ours. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I think this one right here is ours. That one is a rented one. We're using these for hauling fertilizer to our other farm down south with our own trucks. It's cheaper if we haul it ourselves. And we'll also haul a little bit of wheat on ourselves too. So we'll get our semis, hook up to the hopper trailer. Whenever we hire someone to harvest our wheat, as you saw a while back, and we'll just let them dump it in here. We'll bring it to our own silos and then store it in there. But pretty much just your basic hopper trailer. Moving on to the last shop here. Just gonna turn on some lights. right here is where we keep the rest of the farming or the harvest equipment. We have right here 2 CS690s. Number 2, as you can see on the door there, and number 1 right there. These two are also identical. We bought them at the exact same time. They're 2 8-rowers, so 16 rows in total if you are harvesting on one field at the same time. But these are pretty much, they're not very new. I think we've had them for 2 years now, I think. So we had one whenever they first came out, and we really liked them, and then we traded it off for these two, and we can harvest quite a bit with these two machines. We have quite a few acres to cover with all the cotton acres, so these are really nice. They're the same thing as the pickers, so they make round bales in the back, and you don't have to have the separate bull buggies or module builders or anything like that. So these two are really nice. One of these, I forgot which one it was, might have been number 1. I think it was this one that had a little bit of a fire in the beginning of last year, but luckily enough they were able to put the fire out, and it just damaged a little bit on one of these belts. Let me see if it is this one. I'll show you. Yeah, it is this one. So we got a little bit of damage here on this belt. As you can see, it did burn the belt here a little bit. There's a couple spots somewhere else where it burned it off, but I think we might be replacing that and putting a new belt on there. But other than that, we didn't get much damage. That was about it that there was. But then moving on over here, we have some peanut combines. This is what we're going to be using for harvesting our peanuts. We have 2 of them. We have this one here. Difference is this one does not have duals, and this one has duals. Other than that, they're pretty similar. This one is the one that I usually always drive. This is kind of like my harvester, I guess you could say. But this one is a lot older than this one, but they're pretty much the same still. We think we've had this one now for 12 years. They're really old machines, but they do the job and they work very, very well. If they ever have issues, it's very easy to fix it with just like a welder and a torch, because everything is very simple and easy to get to. That's why we love them. There's not much technology in there, not many wires or anything, but if you ever need to fix something, it's actually quite easy. You don't really need a John Deere mechanic to come out here. They are Amatis combines, but like the cab and everything and the engine, that is all John Deere. So it's still like a John Deere machine, but it's an Amatis combine. I guess they kind of did a collaboration or whatever, and they made it together. They are also 8 rowers, but as I mentioned before, with the peanut digger, it flips 2 rows onto 1 row, so it's pretty much just like a 4 rower, but it's 24 feet wide. They're really nice. I like it. This machine, however, or both of them, they are going to need some maintenance again. Strippers probably not so much, but the combines here, they are going to need some maintenance. Here in like 2 months, we'll probably get on that whenever we have time, whenever we closer to whenever we're going to start digging peanuts, then we're going to start doing all the maintenance on both of these machines. They probably need like a lot of new chains and stuff like that. But one thing that does need to be fixed on my combine, or as I would say my combine, is last year whenever I was cleaning the machines, it was kind of windy and I wasn't paying too much attention, but this door right here opened up all the way over here and it was leaning up against the tire, and all I wanted to do was just back up just a little bit to move away from the wind, and the door hooked on the tire just right, and it bent this whole frame here. I don't know if you can see, it's just a slightly bent, so it just needs to be bent back. I couldn't do it myself with one hand, or no one else was around, everyone else was busy. I was the only one cleaning machines, but it just needs to be slightly bent back and it should be good to go again. But other than that, that's the only thing that needs to be fixed cosmetically. But other than that, these two are amazing machines. We recently, they were vibrating quite a bit for the past couple of years, but we figured out the problem why they were vibrating a lot, and now they're running a whole lot smoother, and we just love them. And they're going to be putting on a lot of hours this year again, because as you know, we have quite a bit of peanuts to harvest this year. more than what we normally do. Normally we harvest peanuts for someone else, but because we have a lot of peanuts of our own this year, we're going to be putting a lot more hours on there this year. And oh, one more thing I do want to mention about the combines. As great as they are, the only lights that they come with are those up there on the cab. And that is something that they do need to fix, because that is just annoying. And what we did, we were like, we need more light. We put a light bar on the front. We put that light on right there. We put this light right here. There's another one on that side. There's two on each side of the header that we put on here. And then there's also a light up there on the basket and another mini light pod. It's not a light bar, it's just a light pod. We put it up here on the conveyor. And we're thinking, maybe if we have time, we're thinking about putting more lights on here, because it's just a whole lot nicer to have a lot of lights on the combine, because it did not come with any lights at all. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all of our equipment. Hopefully this video doesn't get too long, but I hope you still enjoyed. And as always, thanks for watching.